Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special NADA edition of In the Driver's Seat. Joining us is Erik Hjermstad, VP of Product Management at Experian Automotive, a division of the data and technology company that is very connected to the automotive industry, both retail and OEM. Virtually every dealer in the US is already using Experian data for credit, and the Experian Automotive division works with essentially every OEM in the US. Erik, welcome back to In the Driver's Seat.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. So before we get started on today's topic, Erik, tell me a little bit about the Experian Automotive division.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me back again. Where we kind of play in the auto space is really across the board. So, working with starting with dealers all the way up through OEMs, branching into the aftermarket, auctions, lenders, tier one media and marketing agencies, all the way down to tier three. So, we have uh, presence across the entire automotive ecosystem with heavy focus specifically around automotive, which is what our business does.
That's great, Erik. That really sets the stage for what we'll be talking about next. Let's get into the latest marketing trends and challenges. Clients are really focused on acquiring quality leads and retaining loyal customers in this highly complex landscape. What kind of conversations are you having with clients right now about marketing in this new digital world? And what challenges are they facing finding and keeping customers?
Well, I mean, currently the biggest challenge they're facing is really shrinking gross profits per vehicle. I mean, you've heard it through NADA and just kind of everything else going on right now. And with that comes challenges that the digital ecosystem and marketing can really help with. So, what we like to do is really simplify that process for them and say, look, we know that cost is a challenge right now for you. We know that there's a lot of things out there in a lot of different ways that can kind of be overwhelming as it relates to how do you solve these things. It's a complex ecosystem from digital advertising to connected TV to TikTok and everything that in between. And with that comes exciting opportunities, but it's really let's keep things as simple as possible, starting with the key focus areas around making data right and painting a very simple picture as it relates to how to approach it.
Yes, you're so right, Erik. It can seem very overwhelming. Marketing has
Yeah.
become extremely connected and layered. And, as a result, there's so much to navigate. So, how can dealers get a handle on things or even get started and begin taking charge of their data?
It's a really good question. And, for us, it's always start with your own data. There's a million tools. There's so many things out there. Uh, you know, I fall victim to the shiny object all the time. I mean, there's so many of them and it's fun and it's exciting what we can do in our industry today. But what you don't want to lose sight of is your own data and what you can do with it when you get it right. And getting it right starts with understanding how much of it at the beginning is likely wrong. So, we actually did an internal study recently where we looked across data from a lot of our providers and partners that we've worked with over the last year. And on average, we see that about 61% of dealer files have problems with them, whether that be consumers no longer owning their vehicle, poor name and address hygiene, incorrect email addresses. You think of all the things that can change about a consumer, not just with vehicle ownership, but in their lives, whether it be a new job, which usually comes with a new email address, which comes with new internet browsing behaviors. All of those things create change, making it hard to connect with your own customers. So step one is making sure that your own data is right. And then from there, you walk into kind of a crawl, walk, run process in terms of making it actionable.
I think that's so important, Erik. I mean, you and I were talking leading up to this interview and, talking about that exact thing is it's really comes down to first and foremost your own data. You can't have a personalized message with
Yeah.
incorrect information, and that's what we're getting to, and that's what we're talking about is being personalized. So, that really covers how you keep in touch with current customers. What's the approach for dealers looking to acquire new customers and grow market share using marketing data insights?
Yeah, another really good question. And where where we like to start is starting by understanding where are your problems in your dealership or in your area. Is it sales? Is it service? Is it recall? Where are the areas where you know that you're maybe not doing as well as you could be? And so starting off with understanding the problem gets you to the end goal. I'll go back to the thing I said earlier about the shiny objects. We have so many tools and options, and not just at Experian, but everywhere, to go solve all these different problems, but understanding that they're all meant for different things. So really get to what is your biggest pain point and start with your number one problem. What's the biggest issue you're facing right now as it relates to getting new customers in the door? Find that right bucket. And then as you get into the marketing data to be used to solve that problem, you get into all sorts of fun stuff with, deterministic modeling and machine learning and all the cool things going on around AI. It's exciting. There's a lot of different ways to solve these things, making sure you understand the problem you're solving to make sure you match it up with the right tool is the way we start. And then from there you get into, all right, how are we using these things? Is it sales? Is it service? Is it recall? Is it, just making your data better? Where do we go from there?
Right. Well, you mentioned deterministic. Let's talk about this term deterministic and deterministic modeling. What
Sure.
is it? What's the benefit? And we're also hearing about predictive and probabilistic modeling. What's the difference?
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's a fun conversation for data scientists like myself and others that we have in our world, because we didn't get to used to talk about these things like we do today. It's a lot more exciting because there's so many more tools, so many more ways to take advantage of these things. But really, there's kind of two buckets in the way that we talk about and think about machine learning. One is deterministic, the other is probabilistic. Think of deterministic as a known outcome. So we know exactly when, as an example, Emma, your vehicle is coming off lease. That's something that there is a known outcome out there that we're modeling against or trying to predict to. Probabilistic gets into, all right, we know that your vehicle lease is expiring in July, let's say. What we don't know is when are you likely to turn that vehicle in? What are you likely to do next? And what are you likely to buy next? That's when you get into more predictive and probabilistic in terms of what's going to happen next. So we do both of these things depending on the specific goal, as we just mentioned, of what the dealer is trying to accomplish.
You do. Experian has its own deterministic models. How are yours different, and why is yours unique?
Yeah, it really gets down to everything with machine learning, modeling, AI. It's not necessarily the technique that you use there, although that's exciting and fun. And we've got teams of people that are working on these things and making sure we're using the cutting edge technology available to us, which is really the fun part about being at Experian is we have access to so many tools. But first and foremost, it's the data. And really what makes models and machine learning most effective are the data points that feed into them. And that's really our uniqueness in the industry, because we understand not only the credit, which everyone knows Experian for, but we've got all this rich vehicle information in terms of we analyze and look at over 900 million historical purchase transactions to inform our probabilistic universe in terms of what is a consumer likely to do next. So as soon as you marry together what we know from the credit side of the world with the vehicle plus the consumer information on 120 million households across the country, you put all of that into these machines. the outcome becomes incredible, to the extent that, we used to think in terms of, give me an audience of consumers that are likely to buy in the next 6 months, to now we've got hundreds, and we're getting into the thousands of different ways and reasons to talk to consumers, whether that be, are you likely to stay loyal to a dealer, to a brand, to an OEM? When are you likely to buy? How are you likely to buy? When are you going to service? All of those things are now possible because of both the technology that we have access to today, but the data that's now flowing in, and the way the machines can handle the volume of data today relative to 10, 15 years ago is unbelievable. It really opens up the floodgates in terms of kind of what you can do with it.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of data that you have access to. I want to thank you for sharing all of this with us, Erik, because I know we're just probably scratching the surface here, right?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I mean, it's a lot of fun. This is one of these subjects that I love talking about, and we could go on for hours.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, that is so great. It's been so great having you with us today. I want to thank you again, and we will see you all next time from the driver's seat.